Here is the mini lesson for lesson 1.6. You will not find this question in your book, so you might want to take a moment to at least write down the information that I'm going to mark onto the open space in the beginning of lesson 1.6. Target is selling a 20.5 ounce bag of Lucky Charms, and this is Target. And they're selling it for $3.98. General Mills online is selling a 44 ounce bag of Lucky Charms for $11.24. First question asks me to find the unit rate. Remember, right away I'm thinking a 1 in the denominator, and a rate has two different labels for each bag of Lucky Charms. And then ultimately I have to answer, which place should we buy our Lucky Charms if we want the best buy? I'm going to divide my workspace into two. And over here, I'm going to do Target. And over here, I'm going to do General Mills online. Okay, so the first thing it asked me to find a unit rate. So I know to do that, I need two fractions. So I need to do that for both. I can do this problem one of two ways, so you may do it differently from someone sitting near you. I'm going to start with taking the Target 20.5 ounce, OZ is the abbreviation for ounce, for $3.98. Remember, I always tell you, bring your labels over right away. Ounces, $. I'm going to do the same for General Mills. It was a 44 ounce bag for $11.24. Ounces, $. I'm finding a unit rate. Tells me I need a 1 in the denominator. So I'm looking for those ounces. This is not super easy. I could scale down, or I could use means and extremes. I'm going to do means and extremes. So I could take 398 x is equal to 20.5 times 1, which is 20.5. When I solve and isolate my variable, I use inverse operations. Divide by 398, divide by 398, and I get x equals 5.15. Remember, I always like to see labels, so that's ounces, but they did ask me for a unit rate. So unit rate is in fractional form, and it has 1 in the denominator, so I need to present it that way. So I have 5.15 ounces per $1. There's my unit rate. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to use means and extremes. 11.24x is equal to 44. If I divide by 11.24 to both sides, I get x equals 3.91. What is that label? It's ounces. So I need to write it though as a unit rate. So 3.91 ounces over $1. Now I answered part 1. I found a unit rate for each one. Now looking at this, I'm going to try to decide which is my better buy. Would I rather get 5.15 ounces per dollar, or would I rather get 3.91 ounces per dollar? As a person purchasing, I want more ounces per dollar. So this would be my better buy. And I would say that I get more ounces per dollar. Okay, now there's a second way you could solve this. What if you didn't set it up the way I set it up and you did it in reverse? You said, well, I'm going to put the dollars on the top. So for Target, you did $3.98, and that's the same as 20.5 ounces. And we bring over our labels. And you did the same for the General Mills. You said, I'm going to put the dollars on the top, and I'm going to put the ounces on the bottom. We're finding a unit rate, so 1 goes on the bottom. I'm going to use means and extremes again. So 20.5 times x is 20 and 5/10 x. And when I multiply $3.98 times 1, I still get the 398. Dividing both sides by 20.5 to isolate my variable, This time I get x equals 19 hundredths. So I need to again go back and look at what label is it. It's dollars. It needs to be written as a unit rate. So I have $19, so that's 19 cents over 1 ounce. That's a unit rate. Doing the same over here, 44 times x is 44x. 1124 times 1 is 1124. Isolating my variable using inverse operations, dividing by 44, and this time I get x equals 26 hundredths. What's the label? It's a dollar sign, so I want to write it as a unit rate. 26 cents over 1 ounce. So here I would have answered question 1, finding the unit rate. Now I need to determine which is the better buy. Would I rather pay 19 cents for an ounce, or would I rather pay 26 cents for an ounce? I would rather pay 19 cents for an ounce. So this is the better buy because it costs less. It's less cost per ounce. So you could have solved it this way, or you could have solved it this. It's not required that you do both. However, you know you have some options, so you can always try both and make sure you get the same answer either way.